Hello, gladiators. Welcome to another episode of the life and suffering of Sir Brante. I will be trying to limit these down closer to around 30 minutes due to adolescence being that uh, wildly longer episode at an hour and a half. So let's go ahead and get back into this. The driver flicks the reins. The carriage slowly sways as it starts moving away from your home. You stick your head out the window and wave goodbye to your family. Nathan is running after the carriage with Thomas's younger brother in tow, tears glistening in their eyes. It hurts to leave your home behind. Ahead lies Eterna, the imperial capital. You have often read about it and heard stories from Father and Stefan. It is a city that surpasses Anasat enormously in terms of size, age, wealth, and beauty. But what is it really like? What kind of life awaits you there? What will you learn there? And where will your actions take you? You pass the old walls of Anazat. Somewhere within them is the old fortress you and Thomas built together out of old wooden planks, now left to the care of your younger brothers. You two are adults now. Perhaps your fortress will crumble, now abandoned, or perhaps your brothers will continue what you started. Who knows? You look down at your hands, knuckles covered in scars from street antics, fingers stained with ink. Mother gave you a cross to wear away from home, and now you feel its warmth against your chest. Your family counts on you, even though they all wish a different future for you. But they are behind you now, in Anazot. From this point on, you will decide which road you will take. This is the journey you prepared for throughout your entire childhood. Ahead of you lie many years in the capital, years that will determine your fate and your place in society. Ooh, we got new stats. Perception and nobility give rise to diplomacy. Curious and dignified give us a low diplomacy score. Perception and ingenuity give us manipulation, but we are naive. Perception and spirituality give us neophyte in theology. Determination and nobility, we are a mediocre fighter. Most important to the judge, the judge is about to lay a slapdown on the criminals. Yes, the seasoned warrior judge will decide whether you go to jail or he just gets to put you in a headlock. Determination and ingenuity give us inexperience in scheming. Determination and spirituality give us tongue-tied in eloquence. Alright, so we are a mediocre fighter, and that's it. That's all we got going for us at 16. Alright, so we'll be able to get a certain path. So we need to at least enroll in the college. Ooh, true death. Okay. You guys want to speedrun real quick and go for true death? Alright. You left your hometown to study in the imperial capital. What life awaits you in Eterna? What will you study, and where will you go? When push comes to shove, which road will you take? Your youth awaits, and the years to come will determine the nature of your destiny and your place in society. Wow, there's quite a bit that can happen in this chapter. So it seems to me we need to work on diplomacy and valor. Seem to be the top two. Alright. The youth begins. It takes a whole month to reach Eterna. You and Thomas spend the days wagging your chins and staring at the scenery as your carriage makes its way along the road and towards the next province. Soon it crosses from the familiar barren, arid lands of Magra to the stately mountains of Illyria. During one of your many stays at a roadside inn, the two of you even manage to share a whole bottle of strong wine and keep it a secret from the servant who drives the carriage. Adult life feels positively intoxicating. Soon, I tell you. Soon we'll be there. I'll earn my sword as I get accepted into the military academy, you'll see. Then nobody's gonna walk all over me like I'm some commoner. You keep rehearsing everything they taught you in school. Soon you are almost at the end of your long journey. You have left behind the arid rocks of Magra, the mountains of Illyria, and the flooded meadows of Archnia. You turn at the capital is right ahead. Let's go ahead and situated at the junction between the Reglata and Taurina rivers, the city is vast. 3 majestic stone bridges keep its shores interconnected. Smooth stone paves the main city streets, gilded moldings decorate the buildings, towering pillars reach high into the sky. Your carriage takes you past a spacious park with marble fountains and intricately trimmed bushes. On the streets you see ornately decorated carriages bearing Archnean coats of arms and abundant merchants' tents filling the streets with beckoning cries and unusual sights. The spires of ancient temples dot the city skyline. The carriage comes to a halt on a large city square with a towering marble fountain. The coachman says you have arrived. Thomas is to apply to the military academy. The academy barracks are 2 streets away. Your lodging house is in the alleyway nearby. A room has already been reserved for you. You get out onto the street and say brief goodbyes to each other. You promise to meet again after the entrance exams. Then your friend disappears into the crowded streets of the capital. You are left to your own devices in this vast city. A group of nobles walk past. They are dressed in well-fitting clothing decorated with gems and golden thread. You are not even noticed. Street urchins chase a dog down the alleyway. Soldiers of the Imperial Legion are marching to fifes and drums towards the barracks. Humble pilgrims are gathering to the great Temple of the Twins. There are the sounds of music and fountains and the smells of baked bread and garbage trains. You quickly check in at the lodging house, then go back outside. The sun is setting. The street lights come to life, merry music fills the taverns. Couples in noble coaches with tinted windows fill the streets. Shadows and hushed voices and laughter fill the parks. You are all alone with this city, so vast and unfamiliar. You take a look around, determined to fill your first night in the capital with memories. You see young nobles gathered by the fountain, talking and making jokes excitedly. One of them keeps glancing at the clock tower. They are about your age. Their clothes are hand-tailored, and 2 of them bear noble swords. They seem to be waiting for something. It might be a good idea to make their acquaintance. It would be most helpful to develop a familiarity with the influential nobles of the capital. Loud music from a large establishment on the corner distracts you for a moment. The servants have just opened the shutters to air out the hall. It seems there will be a gathering inside. People from various estates greet each other as they take their seats. A servant by the door of the establishment hails you. Sir Gert Arkwright will be making a speech about the rights of the common estate. If you wish to listen, you'd better get inside quickly. Then you look at the great Temple of the Twins at the far end of the street. The pillar shines in the evening dusk above it. The temple gates are open, and worshippers are flocking inside. There are too many people for an ordinary service. This must be something special. What do they preach here in the capital? What do they say of the new faith and the teachings of Patriarch Fotis? You snap out of your reverie when you hear loud laughter. A group of young men dressed in the colors of the Imperial College have made the acquaintance of several lovely girls. They are making their way down the road, united by merriment. One of the girls smiles at you. It's an invitation to join them. They turn the corner and walk away, but you can still hear their voices ringing and echoing through the street. A night of revelry and jolly. Loud fun doesn't sound half bad. This is your first night in Eterna. No matter what you choose, you will remember it for a long time to come. I think I'd rather meet with the noble youths. You approach the young nobles and introduce yourself tactfully. Your father, a judge, has sent you here to study, you explain. Would they mind showing you around the capital? The nobles eye you uncertainly and whisper to each other. You prepare to face their rejection, but, to your surprise, they agree. When the clock tower strikes 8, your new acquaintances proceed to a rich house not too far away. Candlelight fills the halls before you, reflected in abundant mirrors and gilded picture frames. Manservants bring drinks and refreshments to every guest. There are the sounds of music and laughter and small talk. Here and there you see couples dancing to the music. It appears you have made it to a small noble party. The nobles are gathered in groups. You take the time to get introduced to each of them and join in their small talk. Some discuss their studies at the college, while others relay fresh gossip. Have you heard that a Melanidas carriage was seen in the city the other day? You mention how you once encountered Octavia Melanidas, daughter and heiress to the Archduke of Magra, at a square in Amazon. These words draw a small crowd. Let's try this one again. The Melanidas dynasty rarely, if ever, visits Eterna. They say it is the only house that can stand its ground against the imperial Tempest dynasty. One young man even allows himself a little joke. They say the great Archnean houses turn to a Melanidas only when a Tempest needs to be refused. After all, only the Melanidas dynasty still knows how to say no. But there is more. It turns out all humans owe the Melanidas dynasty for their foray into nobility. Melanidas was the Archnean who opened the first college, and his graduates were the first to be ennobled by the mantle. To feed and nourish their barren land, the Dukes of Magra took to industry and began adopting innovative industrial and social practices. The dynasty's motto is remembrance and majesty, but strife and change would suit them better. Then the nobles start discussing the other great Archnean dynasties. The Tempest dynasty is the first of the first, naturally, marked by the twins anointed to rule. All Tempests are known for their sincerity, often bordering on a volatile temper. Yet it is the very passion that has led them throughout history. The Tempests have been chosen by the gods to rule the empire. The Diamant dynasty are the main supporters of the emperor's family, honor personified. The Diamants preside at the Archnean courts of honor that remain throughout the empire in spite of the public taboo. These courts hold more sway over the laws and lives of the nobility than imperial edicts or prefectural authorities. Some mention Patriarch Junius Diamant, the black sheep of his own dynasty. He preaches the new faith that rejects the lots and stirs the minds of the common folk. The Orgriff dynasty is another noble bloodline favored by the emperor. They zealously advocate the twins' faith and see the empire as the union between heaven and earth. Every year, the Orgriffs donate enough funds to build new temples across the empire. The Monrogue dynasty is an ancient and controversial name. The Monrogues often speak in favor of removing humans from nobility, restoring nobility as a solely Archnean privilege, and returning all human-manned offices in the empire to the Archneans. Many Gospers accuse the Monrogues of plotting against the rule of the Tempests, to bring back the old Archnean Republic and the joint rule of the great Archnean dynasties, as it existed long before the emperors first came to be. The discussion of courtly affairs in noble dynasties soon gives way to cultured entertainment. Expensive wine flows like water. You too ask noble ladies to dance and show your skill. You return to your lodging room in the small hours of the night, with just enough strength left to undress before your aching head and feet make you collapse. For the first time in your life, you have mingled with a noble crowd on your own, without your family's aid. Arrival to the capital, year 1134. You arrived in Eterna, the ancient capital of the blessed Archnean Empire. You've spent the last 3 days studying books, but today you decide to take a walk through the streets of Eterna. They are full of life as usual. You proceed to the square next to the lodging house. A procession of priests walk through the square. You notice that one of them holds a banner of the new faith, an open book. This is the same banner that was behind Patriarch Fotis on the day of his assassination. A crowd immediately gathers around them. Many people are looking at an icon painting on a small pedestal depicting a gray-haired man with glowing green eyes. He was much more unique than the other guys. You recognize that face, the face of the late Patriarch Fotis. A man with a thick beard appears by the icon painting. His broad shoulders bear a white and gold cloak with the coat of arms of the capital province embroidered on it. He is Luke, Patriarch of Archnia. He casts a stern gaze over the crowd. I speak to all who live within the center of the Shining Pillar. Exactly 1 year ago we lost Fotis, Patriarch of the Magra province, mentor of the new faith. Patriarch Fotis was the first to see the books of Isacius for nothing but the words of a man, not the words of the twins themselves. He was the first to tell people to seek the path to the gods in their own hearts, instead of blindly following the lots, to seek answer in the lives of the twins and their own hearts rather than the words of priests. Yeah, this is absolutely the Protestant Reformation going on right now. Through Patriarch Fotis, we were able to see the truth. Through his death, we saw that his words are not heresy. They are the truth that are used to be obscured by Isatius's lies. And now I bring good news. Patriarch Junius Diamant has seen to it that our teacher will be canonized as a saint. Yes, Junius Diamant, an Archnean from a great dynasty and the Patriarch of Astynia, has joined the new faith himself. And through this we hope that the entire empire will soon see that our doctrine is the truth. We are free from the shackles of the lots. We are equal before the twins. With each day, more and more people hearken to the truth, and one day the entire empire will hear our call. So let us pray, my brothers. The believers around you bow their heads in prayer and thank the twins, not for the lot they were given, as they usually would, but for the chance to choose their own path. The Patriarch's sermon is inspiring. It compels your hands to meet in a sign of prayer. It compels your lips to repeat the words of the new faith. Patriarch Luke's sermon forms a cadence, and your heart beats in time with it now. You recall the murder of Patriarch Fotis a year ago. It seems more patriarchs share his doctrine now. The news of Junius Diamant joining the new faith is stunning. If an Archnean from a great dynasty has sided with the Fotis' doctrine and agreed to see everyone as equals under the twins, the new faith must truly be putting down roots. But suddenly several figures appear by the podium, figures clad in black with glinting silver on their sides. Inquisitors. They push through the crowd and form a circle around Patriarch Luke. One of these priests rises from the crowd. He's clean-shaven, tall, with chiseled features. Everyone falls silent at the sight of him. The Inquisitor speaks with a booming voice that can be heard by all. I am Father Ulrich. In the name of the twins and by my right as an Inquisitor, I order you to turn around and leave. The words you're hearing are full of lies. Patriarch Luke has set out to poison your hearts and minds, and the Inquisition will not allow this heresy to spread. The only true path in life is the will of the twins. Life offers us no other choice. You are hereby ordered to disperse at once. Most people leave the square immediately. Few want to get involved with the Inquisition. Some people stay, however, and some even shout angrily. We want to listen to Luke. He is the Patriarch of Archnia, and he has more to say. Get away from our sermon, old believers. We will not listen to you and your hoary old lies about the lots. Inquisitors, bring those who may yet listen back to their lots, and leave the others to the champions of faith. The black-clad Inquisitors descend from the podium and approach the people who choose to stay. With nothing but their words, they make people stop shouting and start listening. The uproar ceases quickly. They have dissected the group, split it into smaller groups that surround each Inquisitor. One of these Inquisitors chooses to approach you. He is a humble-looking man of age with a rough haircut. He looks you straight in the eye as his lively, soulful voice forces you to listen to his words despite yourself. My name is Father Jeremiah. I know your thoughts were stirred by the Patriarch's words. You're not sure whom to trust. But I teach at the seminary. I have been studying the teachings of the twins my entire life. You can trust me. I know can hear what I have to say. I see their light in your eyes, the light of the true faith. Will you listen to my counsel, my son? You feel no malice in the words of Inquisitor Jeremiah, only hope. It is his lot to aid you, to guide you away from error and set you on the path of the true faith. He is a priest, so he should know the truth. Perhaps the Inquisitor himself is in the wrong. Ooh. Diplomacy. Diplomacy, it's gotta be one of the most important for us. You strike a pose of authority and eye Father Jeremiah sharply. Inquisitors cannot order people around, you say. It is not within the lot of the clergy. Only nobles can give you orders. The other commoners look at you in terror. You have just defied an Inquisitor. However, Father Jeremiah still looks at you without any of the anger you had expected. My son, your words do indeed contain a germ of truth. I am an Inquisitor of the clergy, and by the will of the twins, I cannot give you any orders. But know this, the Inquisition does not imprison everyone suspected of heresy. We exist to protect souls, to guide and save them. We pursue dangerous doctrines and seek to rescue every soul we meet. Arrest or execution is our last resort, reserved only for sinners beyond redemption. You can see that I am merely speaking to you right now. I have not resorted to force, nor am I giving you any orders. But if the need arises, I will summon the champions of faith, nobles who will be there to give orders and punish those who defy the church. But as long as you are not calling for the overthrow of faith, you are safe from them. And as you said, it is not within my lot to give you orders. You are free to go. But expect no mercy in the hereafter, for after we die there will be none. With a bitter smile, the Inquisitor leaves you and proceeds further. You leave the square freely, your dignity preserved. The remaining people in the square continue arguing with the other Inquisitors. Armed champions of faith stand nearby, but they do not intervene. Luke and his retinue can no longer be seen. Only one thing keeps nagging at you. Father Jeremiah's words about how there will be no mercy in the hereafter. Patriarch Luke's sermons have converted many commoners and nobles of the mantle to the new faith. There are now several temples in Eterna that follow the new canons, with Luke's blessing. This has led to no small amount of anger among the followers of the old faith. Two mighty bishops of the church lead the new faith. One of them is Luke, the Patriarch of Archnia himself, spiritual mentor of the capital province. He preaches all across Archnia, his every sermon adding to the new faith's flock. The other leader of the new faith is Patriarch Junius Diamant, hailing from a great Archnian dynasty. He is the de facto ruler of Astynia province. Adored by his subjects, he has found the holy order anew. Junius Diamant rarely preaches, but people believe the Astynian Patriarch attends to the needs of all who convert to the new faith. This schism within the church is growing. The split has furthered the divide between the commoners and the nobles, though thankfully there has been no direct conflict as of yet. But it has become clear that there is no way to stop the steady advance of the new faith. Born from the death of Patriarch Fotis, it grows stronger by the day. Man, it feels like there is nothing we can do about this. The next few weeks pass by in hard work and preparation for the coming entrance exam at the Imperial College. You grow more and more exhausted with each passing day, so much so that one night you fall asleep while studying another book. When you finally come to, you decide it is high time to get some recreation outside. The city of Eterna amazes you as you stroll through its splendid streets. It is another night, a different night, yet the city is beautiful still. The shining pillar is a slice of light against the dark night sky. The lamps on the facades of the buildings are lit. Night descends on the capital. You don't feel like going back to your books tonight. Recently you made the acquaintance of several young men. They are children of nobles of the mantle just like you, sent to the capital to earn their noble titles at the college. You decide to seek them out. Your new friends are having a late dinner on the next street over, loudly discussing their plans for the night. Some speak eagerly of a dueling club where you can see the most skilled and ardent duelers in the Empire doing what they do best. You have never seen professional duelers fight. It must be far more exciting than Father's fencing lessons or that fight in the ruins in Anazat. And if luck favors you, perhaps you can even make useful contacts among the noble families in the capital. The others try to convince the rest to take a trip to a certain secret salon. The establishment is expecting a guest tonight, they say, a young lady who speaks about the true state of affairs in the Empire. There are many questions about the nature of the place and identity of the mysterious speaker, but the young men have only one answer. They are forbidden to speak about this outside the club. However, they can take you there as long as you aren't afraid to learn a dangerous truth. The others are still drinking their fill of wine rather than eating. Fencing? Speeches? Nonsense. The place you ought to go tonight, they claim, is the Markian Society. It's a gathering for those of common estate but uncommon opinions that offers pleasures for everyone. Pleasures of the palate, pleasures of drink, pleasures of the flesh. Is this not heresy and a crime? Perhaps. And yet some of your newfound friends are eager to go there. In the end, your group splits in three to spend the night as they see fit. What will it be? A contest featuring the best fencers in Eterna? An establishment both mysterious and dangerous, or an encounter with people who defy their law with audacity? You weigh your options. I kind of want to see who this mysterious lady is. That feels the cooler route. That feels so much cooler. Plus, I don't terribly want the fencing lesson, but I also really do. I gotta see what the secret salon is about. I'm too curious about it. The secret salon is an unremarkable wooden building down an alleyway a few blocks from the great temple of the twins. A couple of tough, taciturn fellows at the door eye you suspiciously. Their faces are obscured by hoods. One of your newfound friends nods to them, and you are allowed inside. The inner rooms are stuffy and overcrowded. All the partitions have been removed to make room for more people. There is a raised platform next to one of the walls, perhaps a stage. There are benches all around. They are occupied by people of the common estate, most of them modestly dressed. They are artisans, tinkers, street vendors, students, yet you see that some of them are wealthy and impeccably dressed. A mop-headed young man dressed like a low-ranking clerk appears on the stage. He claps to attract the public's attention. When the house goes quiet, he reads a series of pamphlets condemning the supreme authorities of the empire and their obsolete rule. A group of young men appear on the stage next, their faces covered in blue paint. They perform a derisive play entitled A Day in the Life of the Tempests. The performances are many, but their goal is always the same. They all claim the empire is stuck in the past and has to change. Then finally, after another voice of accusation, a young girl appears on the stage and the crowd immediately grows silent. This is her, the mysterious guest they were talking about her. You look at her from the crowd, you see short black hair, a slender figure, and those familiar shining eyes. Yes it is! It's Sofia! It's our girl Sofia! Alright, back into it. Brothers and sisters, you all came to this place because deep in your hearts you know. It's Sofia, the girl who used to live next door. She's grown so much since you've last seen her, but what is she doing here? But before Sofia even finishes her first sentence, a short man in a shabby jacket jumps onto the stage. He flashes a badge and screams at the crowd, "Nobody move, you're all under arrest as accomplices to an insurrection against the Empire." Oh no. Imperial gendarmes barge into the house. Swords and crossbows glint in the dim light. First there is confusion, then panic. Screams of fear and outrage fill the hall. Sofia is already gone. You can barely hear the cries demanding that you stay where you are. People start pushing against the gendarmes, against the doors, against the windows. The din is deafening. Only one thought remains in your mind. You have to run. Run away as fast as you can. You push your way to the furthest window in the hall. A hand grabs you by the sleeve of your jacket. You pry it off without looking and keep pushing forward. The expensive jacket starts to tear at the shoulder. The window frame breaks and falls aside. You drop down after it. Shards of glass bite into your hands, but you barely feel the pain. You will have time to feel it later. But now you need to run. You run and dodge and weave through the alleyways before finally heading for the lodging house. Your heart is racing, your hands are shaking. Blood is dripping from the cuts on your arms. You have no idea what happened to the people who were arrested. Finally, you reach your room and collapse onto the bed. You are safe from pursuit, but not from anxiety. What was Sofia going to say? How did she end up here in the capital after she escaped? Was she arrested too? There are too many questions, but you have no way to answer them. Eventually, you drift off into restless sleep. Alright, with that, we got a year in the life of Sir Brante completed. I think we will go ahead and read the Code of Laws, and then we're going to end the episode right after. You're on your way to the largest library in Eterna to study for your entry exams. It is right next to the college. The streets are full of people, everybody is excited. You hesitate for a few seconds, then let your curiosity get the better of you and head towards the place where you will soon study. Before long you hear the shouting. The great chancellor is about to give a speech about the future of the empire. You cannot possibly miss this. You mix with the crowd and soon find a convenient place to listen and watch what is about to unfold. On the steps of the college you see a small tribune guarded by two Arcanians armed with swords. This is the first time you've seen an Arcanian standing guard, let alone two of them. The doors of the college open to reveal a stately Arcanian surrounded by an honor guard. It is he, Cornelius Tempest, Great Chancellor of the Empire, younger brother to the Emperor himself. He heads for the tribune and casts a look over the square. It is full of people in awe and utter silence. Long ago, humans witnessed the Arcanians' arrival. The two nations built the empire side by side. The provinces joined us one by one, and Magra was the final province to attain the absolute might and majesty of the blessed Arcanian Empire. Yet there was another great event long before that. 4 centuries ago, the twins had graced us with their presence. With their arrival, the twins granted us their will. They showed us their love and their law, and they granted us knowledge of what awaits us in the hereafter. They chose the dynasty of Tempest to rule the empire, and from that day forth our dynasty has ruled this land, ordained by the gods themselves. However, it is our duty to the twins not to seek power for power's sake, but rather to lead the empire to further prosperity, and so the Great Imperial Council is soon to review and adopt a new set of laws called the Creed. Under the Creed, all estates will be granted rights. Under the Creed, there will be one law for all Imperial citizens to obey, human or Arcanian, from the lowliest commoner to the Emperor himself. The strife among the estates will end. A single law will resolve all of our quarrels. Glory to the Empire! The Great Chancellor throws his arms into the air. The crowd murmurs and applauds in approval. Cornelius Temple casts another look over the crowd and leaves. The crowd disperses. The sounds of agitated discussion are everywhere. Is it true that the Empire's dynasty seeks to grant equal rights to all estates? What will happen to the Empire then? So that's where we're going to leave off. Thank you all so much for joining. If you did like this, go ahead and leave a comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Once again, this is a choose your own adventure game. There are so many options and paths that I have missed, and I will miss. Right now, I'm just playing the Path of the Noble, and there are many more paths than that. If I do attain the Path of the Noble, then everyone pick up this game. Tell me how the Path of the Priest or Path of the Commoner is. I'm probably going to play through this game quite a few times on my own after this recording, but it's such a good game. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night.